Okay, so we are live in all platforms today. Let's see if nothing crashes. Sometimes that happens, but I think it will be okay. So as usual, every Tuesday at 6, I'm here opening this space on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube to make sure that people have an opportunity to ask questions. And of course, I always have a topic that I talk about, and I leave it open for anybody to ask anything about these topics. And of course, you can always ask me on social media or any channel that I have on social media. So this past week on Thursday Tips on my account on Instagram, I put something about follow-up questions, right? And the follow-up questions are usually what you follow-up messages, actually. So the follow-up messages usually are the ones that we send after we have an interview, just to make sure that we are in the interviewer's mind, make sure that they don't forget about us, because after all, people like managers and HR professionals, they interview a lot of people, and over time they might forget some parts of the interview. So it's nice you can remember them if you can remind them of these things. So but there's a right way of sending these messages, right? You can't just write any type of message and think that will have the intended effect. So today I'm going to talk a bit more. I'm going to go a bit deeper into this follow-up messages. And of course, if you log in, you can always ask questions about that. So there are three basic steps for you to write a good follow-up message after an interview. Yeah. So the steps are: thank the interviewer for their time, mention something very specific about the interview. Yeah. And you understand why. And at the end, make yourself available for further steps, which seems natural, but depending on the way you do it, it can sound positive or negative. Yeah. So the first thing that I mentioned is to thank the interviewer for their time. And that the first thing that does is to set a positive tone to your message. So if the first thing you're reading about something, about the personal message, is someone thanking you for something, you are encouraged to keep reading. You are encouraged to get to the end of that message. You know, so if you start something already asking for something or anything different than a positive message, then the person might not be so encouraged to read further. Yeah. Um, and the thanking for the time is very important too, because what do we value more than time? You know, so we all have a limited amount of time here, and we need to make sure that we thank the person for something that generates value for them. You know, so if you thank them for their time, it's gonna hit home. Let's put it like that. They're gonna be able to see that you appreciate the time they took from their busy day to go and interview you, so they know you are appreciative of that. Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second point I said is to mention something very specific about your interview, and what that does is it helps the interviewer to remember you as a person, who you are, your name, your qualifications, and hence you as a candidate. Because just think about an experience that you have, like a person that you know, that you like. You probably have some experience with that person that will make you remember them, or personal characteristics of that they have, right? So it's the same thing here. You tie yourself to one experience, and the person is more likely to remember you. Yeah. When you're talking about the experience, be specific. Be very specific about what the experience was. So what were you guys talking about in that interview? Was it one of your experiences, or did he or she, your interviewer, ask an interesting question that you enjoyed answering? And then answer why specifically. So why did you like that moment? It's not simply, oh yeah, I like to talk about my experiences. Yeah, but why did you like? Because they they focused on a certain point that you like to talk about, or they made an intelligent question, an interesting question that you enjoy answering to. So this is like very specific. So they tie that to you, yeah, to you specifically. The last thing I said of the three rules is make yourself available, and that sounds really obvious, right? At the end of the email, you just send just say, okay, I'm available for the further steps and blah blah blah. But that's not exactly like the only thing that you should think about. Yeah. Um, the first thing you need to do before you start writing this last sentence, yeah, and remember, this message needs to be direct, to the point, and a short message. Nobody likes to read really long messages, okay? So make it short, like really short sentences, really to the point. Yeah. So before you start writing that last sentence on making yourself available, you need to think and tell yourself that you already have the job, that you already have this stage of the process in the bag, that is done and dusted, and you're already in the next phase. That is for you to make sure that you're in the right mindset when you're writing this sentence, and as a matter of fact, for the whole message. Yeah. So once you have that in your mind, just make sure that you say, without sounding desperate, that you are available for the next steps of the process, right? So just make sure that you say something like, thanks for your time. I liked that we talked about a experience, because I enjoy talking about that specific time that I spent in that company or in that university. And just make sure that you say at the end, I am available for the next all the next steps of this process. Yeah. And make sure to say that you are available in a short period of time, that if they want you to be there in 2-3 days, that you're going to make time for them. Don't say I'm available 24/7, nothing exaggerated like that, because people can experienced interviewers can get into that point and just say, okay, they're not telling the truth here, they're just exaggerating. So just be careful not to exaggerate too much. Yeah. Last thing, make sure that you send this message 24 hours after you or on the next day that you had the interview. Don't get home half an hour later and send this message. Yeah, because it's also going to sound annoying and like you're desperate to get the position. So just make sure that you send it on the day after, and also to all the people that were in that interview. Don't send just to one person, send to all of them, because as more people keep you in mind, the better chance you have to get that position. Yeah. So that's what I had for today. I'm gonna keep posting the videos on Tuesday. I'm gonna keep posting the tips on Thursdays. And I also have the lives on Wednesdays. And tomorrow I'm going to talk to a very interesting CEO from a company in New York City. So tune in. I think you guys are going to like it. Cheers.